What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of TEW Confrontational. Back at you with episode number 59. Got Kyle Lyons back on here again to kind of recap the first two rounds of the tournament and kind of go over the Sweet 16, Elite 8, the next couple rounds here this coming up this weekend. But yeah, we'll just jump right into it. We'll just start with the Eastern Conference. Kind of like we did the structure we did last time, going over the brackets. You had UConn, SDSU or San Diego State, Illinois, and Iowa State, the four teams advancing to the Sweet 16 out of this region. Exciting first couple rounds for the tournament. What'd you guys think about it?
Yeah, it was good. I so out of that East, you said I had two teams make it out of the. How many do you have? You have four make it.
Yeah, I
You had
had
all,
UConn, SDSU, Illinois, and Iowa State. So I had those four,
but you had your four
correct. Yeah.
winners that you picked. Okay, I only
Yeah.
had two. I had UConn and Illinois make it out of there. Um, my bracket's not doing very well. I think a few upsets that really hurt me. Auburn was a big one for me, and
Yeah.
actually the same night Auburn and Florida were my big ones that really. Guess I had them going pretty far, so that kind of screwed me. So, yeah, I only have overall nine making out of the 16. So, and I know you guys are doing much better. What do you guys have for teams making it to the Sweet 16? Excuse me.
Yeah, I got 13 out of the 16 advancing. I had Baylor making it to the Sweet 16. Same with St. Mary's out of the West, and both of those teams got knocked out the first rounds, or Baylor got knocked out round of 32, but St. Mary's lost in the first round. So that one was tough for me. And then my other Sweet 16 team was Kentucky, who got knocked out in the first round as well. Um,
Hmm.
but it was kind of nice to get those games out of the way just because, and then it didn't bust my bracket. So it's kind of, yeah, win-win. I mean, Kentucky, that was kind of crazy with Jack Golke hitting 10 threes and kind of just going off and was contested on pretty much all of them. And yeah, there's kind of a crazy stat. He only shot 8 2-point field goals the whole entire year. So he shot like 375 3-pointers and he was able to shoot 23s that game. So whatever John Calipari drew up on the defensive scheme was not working. And
Yeah,
don't understand why you'd let up 10 23 pointers to someone who just shoots threes. But yeah, it was kind of a weird sequence, and Kentucky plays fast, and I think that Oakland kind of opened up the floodgates too with knocking down all those shots. So it's kind of
yeah,
just
it was definitely you would think at some point you would change, but it just didn't look like they were going to, and it cost them. So, I mean, you get one chance in this tournament, and I don't know, Kentucky last few years, I don't know. They haven't made a Final Four since 2015. I know he was on the hot seat earlier this week, and the AD just said he's coming back next year. So
yep.
great recruiting classes. I just don't think it's the recipe for March. Luckily, I still have all 8 of my Elite Eight teams still alive. Still got my Final Four there, so that's always solid. But going back to what we saw last week, I kind of thought UConn would walk to a Final Four, and boy, they just kill
That's what they're
everyone in the
showing.
path.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what they're
and
looking like.
they played SDSU in the championship last year. I just think this game won't even be close again. I think the spread's at 10.5 now. I think UConn wins by 15 plus. In the East, that BYU or not BYU, excuse me, Illinois Iowa State game, I think could be game of the weekend.
I think so too.
Um,
It's gonna,
best
yeah.
offense, best defense. We'll see who prevails, but super excited for that one. And I know a lot of people said, first weekend wasn't a ton of upsets, but just wait for this weekend. I'm telling you, those little upsets just mean better games this weekend. So I'm
Hmm.
definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
There's obviously a couple being Kentucky and James Madison, and there's a couple more that I'm missing, but
That Grand Canyon
yeah,
upset.
GCU.
Yeah.
But most of those some of those were predicted. So I don't know. I'm super excited for this weekend. A lot of really, really good, talented teams left. So it should be fun.
Yeah, it's kind of chalky a little bit up
Mhm.
until, I mean, you have the NC State 11 seed in there, but other than that, SDSU or San Diego State and Gonzaga, Clemson's in there too, but Clemson's a 6 seed. Gonzaga and San Diego State are 5 seeds. The rest are 4 and higher, so it's pretty chalky throughout the tournament. And I can see NC State beating Marquette next weekend too. That's going to be another one to watch as well. Duke Houston's going to be fun. Yeah, like you said, these
Yeah.
matchups that are going into this weekend are going to be fun. This Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games are going to be must-watch TV, and I think this is going to be probably one of the most watched college basketballs in the last 10, 15 years. I mean, this is pretty exciting stuff, and pretty
Yeah,
chalky but good games.
every 1 and 2 seeds still alive. So
Yep.
for everyone who had a chalky bracket, which we kind of said last episode, you're doing just fine. And
Yep.
it's going to take a lot to even see a double-digit seed make it out of this weekend. So I kind of expect the chalk to continue. But if we go down to the West, I think North Carolina, Alabama is a really fun matchup. I think that could be really up and down. Like we said last week, Bama doesn't play a lick of defense. I don't know
No.
if you guys watched their game against Grand Canyon, but boy, that was entertainment. Um,
Yeah.
and then Arizona and
Clemson.
Clemson on the bottom. Arizona
I
play fast. Clemson likes to play slow. I think that could be an under the radar game too, but I
I
think the
think
West
yeah.
should be also very entertaining this weekend as well.
I think Clemson kind of snuck their way. Well, they snuck their way into the tournament, and now they beat New Mexico, which I thought was going to be a lot closer matchup, but they kind of just ran over New Mexico, and then they kind of controlled most of the game against Baylor. They're doing a pretty good.
Baylor tried to make a late run late, but Clemson,
Yeah,
I mean, their defense, their two big mans, PJ Hall and I can't remember the other last name, but they kind of dominated down low. And then they got Joe Girard, transfer from Syracuse, who just lights it up from anywhere. He's 5th-year guy. So they definitely have some experience. They can play with Arizona. I think that game will be a lot closer than people think. But Evan, what do you got in the West?
Yeah. So for the West, I have I don't know. Alabama watching their first game, they put up 109 points, and kind of like you mentioned, I mean they have great offense, don't play a lick of defense. So I didn't even expect them to make it this far. I did pick them to make it this far just because for shits and giggles. But I have let's see here. I have UNC dominating that game, I think, and then I have Arizona beating Clemson. Not going off my bracket, but just going off of what I think for this Sweet 16.
yeah, that North Carolina Alabama game in the West, I think that's going to be a fun one. Probably, like you said, one of the top ones to watch this weekend. You got Alabama that wants to get out of the gate fast and just try to score more points than the other team, just because, you said they don't play really hardly any defense, so they're going to try to get out. And then, Baycott's been looking good. RJ Davis has been playing well in the tournament. I mean Harrison, what's his? Can't remember his name.
Oh, Harrison Ingram. Yep.
Harrison Ingram's been the X factor, knocked down a couple big shots, and I mean they're playing team deep. They're playing all around team basketball. So North Carolina. I think they're gonna probably, I think it's gonna be Arizona and North Carolina in Phoenix for the Final Four, or for the Final Four heading into the championship game, or Elite Eight going into the Final Four.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that'd be really fun as well. I'm still kind of torn on Arizona. I don't know. I'm really interested, like we said, to see how they do against Clemson. But I think going back up south, I think Houston Duke should be one of the best games of the weekend. I know we've said it about every game, but Houston Duke is really fun. Duke's been hitting it all cylinders last 2 games. Houston, crazy game against A&M. That game just didn't want to end. I don't know if you guys saw, they had a walk-on who had to come in because they had 4 or 5 guys fall out.
Mm-hmm.
He had to come and knock down a few clutch free throws. So, I think Houston's going to be a little extra motivated. They didn't get many whistles in that game, but I think that should be really fun, especially the way Houston plays defense. I think Filipowski's going to have a major advantage. Houston's biggest guy, I think, is 6'8". Their backup big man broke his foot a couple weeks ago, so Duke could have the advantage inside, but this should be a really fun matchup.
Yeah, it's kind of panning out to be like kind of like a tournament of the bigs in a sense. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, you saw Vlad, can't remember his Vlad Golden for
FAU.
Yeah, FAU. He had a stellar game. He had 19, 9 and like 4 blocks. And you see Zach Edey playing well. Filipowski had a pretty decent game. I mean, I mean, I think it's going to be a matchup of the big men come down to the late because yeah, there's a lot of guard play, a lot of good guard play. Don't get me wrong, but it feels like evenly matched as far as guard play goes. Like you have a stellar guard on one team and a stellar guard on the other team. If they're playing each matched up against each other, kind of lock each other down. But the big men are really the ones stepping up. I feel like and kind of making a difference in some of these games, especially with the boards and everything. So
Yeah, you're exactly right. I didn't think big men would be this big of a factor, but as we know, Zach Edey's kind of been the headline. Seems like all tournament. Purdue fans kind of been nervous all tournament. They kind of got that first weekend monkey off their back. Seems like their guards are ready to play. It should be a really fun matchup down in the Midwest against Gonzaga. They already played once this season, or was it last year? I can't remember. But they're familiar with each other. I just watched Mark Few's interview on Fox Sports One, and he said they're pretty familiar. They got a game plan. They won't be shocked by him. So I don't know. What do you guys think about that Purdue Gonzaga game in the Midwest moving down? Oh, my
yeah,
bad. I
yeah,
skipped
no,
one game, but
no,
like we're
100.
talking big men.
Yeah, 100%. I think yeah, this one's going to be a fun matchup. Gonzaga, yeah, they got the Ike. I think that's how you
EK.
Ike
Yeah, Graham
Ek.
EK.
I mean,
Yeah.
he's been averaging like 16, 18 points a game too. I mean, that's going to be a fun matchup against those guys. But Gonzaga's been playing pretty well this tournament. I mean, what were the final scores of their games? I mean, they've been putting up like 80 points each game,
Yeah, they beat
86 and 89. So they're averaging
East by 20
80.
plus, beat Kansas by 20 plus. They're rolling. Purdue also
Mhm.
on a big roll too. They just beat Utah State by about 50 or 40 the other night.
Yeah,
So,
they beat them 106-67.
Yeah, I thought
so
TCU would have put up a better matchup against Purdue, but I mean that's just how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, that Purdue Gonzaga matchup's going to be fun, and then Creighton Tennessee, that should be a high scoring game too. Down out of the Midwest as well. 2 versus 3 going to be a good matchup. Uh, Creighton's schedule isn't as tough as Tennessee's, but you can see that they can beat anybody there in the tournament, and
that's another
so.
big matchup of conflicting styles there. Tennessee really plays a lot of defense, and Creighton really gets up and down, shoots a ton of threes. They can
Yep.
run, they can shoot. They don't particularly focus in on defense a whole bunch either, but we'll see two of those matchups this week between offense and defense. I'm interested to see who wins.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
know.
gotta go ahead, Ty.
I just know that you have Tennessee, I think, winning it all. So this is probably a big game for you. So I was just interested to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, for sure. I got to roll with Tennessee just because it's got to help out my bracket. I mean, a little bit. So, and I like Tennessee. I don't know. And then going back to that Purdue game, I didn't want Purdue to make it. I didn't have Purdue making it far at all. I think I had Kansas beating them in that one of those rounds. But I gotta hop on that ED train and roll Purdue in this game because I mean, obviously they made it past the first round, got that monkey off their back. So yeah, I got to roll with Purdue over Zaga.
Yeah, and Purdue hasn't made it to like the Final Four ever since the head coach took over. I think it's been what, like how many years? Something like
I
15
think
years
he's
or
been at
something.
Purdue since 2005, I believe. So it's
Yeah,
been
so
like 19,
15,
18,
20
20
years
years.
that
Yeah.
since they've been to the Final Four. So, and they got eliminated in the first round last year, Sweet 16 2 years ago. So I think they definitely have a chip on their shoulder and definitely want to get past Sweet 16, make it to the Elite Eight, Final Four. And I think that they just have a championship locked
Yeah.
in their vision right now, I think. So,
They said this was Edie's last go around. He's not going to come back for another year. So he looks focused and pretty much unstoppable. Purdue's guards are getting wide open threes every time he gets the ball. It's
yep.
kind of fun to watch, honestly, because you just have this giant in the middle of the paint.
Mm-hmm.
Can't really drive against him. And then he, I mean, he's the X factor in the whole tournament. They've talked about him all week long. But yeah, I'm interested to see how Gonzaga tries to defend him. I think Gonzaga's the biggest guy. EK is 6'9", 6'10". So, I mean, Purdue's got a 5, 6, 7 inch height advantage every single game. So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
see if they can take advantage.
Yeah, what do you
Yeah.
think about that? I know we missed one game. What do you think about that game, the NC State Marquette game?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm pumped for it. I mean, like you said earlier, Kyle, that DJ Burns, if they make it win a couple games, he's going to be America's sweetheart. And every time something happens, they do a zoom in on him, and he's like has a big smile on his face, and he's been playing well. Yeah, I'm excited to see. Like I said earlier, I think NC State might have a advantage in that Marquette game, just momentum from the 5-day 5 wins streak heading into the tournament, won their first 2 games against some pretty tough matchups. I mean, yeah, whereas they're up here. I mean, yeah, and Texas Tech's not tough, and then I guess they played Oakland, which I thought, yeah, Kentucky would have beat NC State, but it's not how
Yeah.
it came down to. But yeah, I'm excited to watch NC State. That their guard that played really well against Oakland, that Horn or whatever DJ or the yeah, what's his name, Horn.
Yeah, it might be DJ Horn. It might be DJ Burn, DJ Horn. It might be the
Yeah,
DJ. But yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that he owns his own vending machine company. And
does
people,
it DJ Burns?
That's
yeah, so they're
awesome.
starting to call him Snacks. So I would love to see. I'm personally not a huge fan of Marquette, have him going to my Elite Eight, but I think the NC State story with DJ Burns would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
So I'm rooting for Snacks and the boys. They've been hot for almost a
Has,
month now, so
yeah,
let's just keep it rolling. We'll see. Um, Marquette finally looks healthy. They got their starting point guard back last week, Tyler Kolek. He played really, really well
yep.
in their second round game. So I don't know. It's hard to see really any blowouts this weekend other than maybe the UConn game, just because I just think they roll over everyone. The story all week has been, can UConn or is UConn going to lose to anyone for the rest of the year? And that was being said in January, and they just are a force. So
Yeah.
we'll see. A bunch of good matchups this weekend. Tomorrow night, I think our closest game spread wise is Iowa State and Illinois.
What's the over
Um,
under? I'm curious to see what that one is because that's got to be pretty
yeah, it's
pretty.
146, and I think it'd be hard to see Iowa State winning if that many points were allowed. They're a great defensive squad, but I don't know if
Right.
you saw in their game against Washington State, they didn't score for the first 5, 6 minutes of the game. So, like we said, offense, defense all week. See these matchups can be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go through who you guys got in each game? I
Yeah.
Yeah,
know we
Go.
kind of already did, but we can just go through it.
yeah.
Each person.
Yeah. You start off first in the East, Evan. So UConn, San Diego State.
Yeah.
Um,
I'll run down my list here. So I got UConn over SDSU. I got Illinois over Iowa State. I got UNC over Alabama. I got Arizona over Clemson. I got Duke over Houston. I got NC State over Marquette. I got Gonzaga over Purdue. No, I got Purdue over Gonzaga, and then I have Tennessee over Creighton.
Hell yeah. So yeah, there's your Elite Eight.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, from the Elite Eight, so you have UConn versus Iowa State.
Nope, UConn versus Illinois.
Who do you got coming out of the East?
I gotta say, gotta go UConn.
Okay. And then,
And then I got
UNC
UNC Arizona. I got UNC, and then Duke NC State. It'd be fun to have NC State. So I'm gonna go NC State, kind of that Cinderella story.
ACC
And
matchup too.
yep, and then I got Zaga Tennessee, and obviously I'm cheering for Tennessee, so I got Tennessee beating Gonzaga.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Kyle, you go next. Yeah, you're East, and then yeah, just go through like Evan did and see what we got coming out of the Sweet 16 into the Elite Eight.
Yeah, I got UConn rolling over the Aztecs. I don't think that game will be close. I got Iowa State over Illinois, and then in a really, really gross game in the Elite Eight, I think UConn beats Iowa State in a game in the high 50s or low
Yeah, I was
60s.
gonna say that's gonna be a low scoring
That
game.
would be kind of gross, but I'm all for it. But I have UConn coming out of the East. Going down, I have UNC over Alabama. I think UNC's experience, UNC's defense, and Baycott down low kind of takes out what Bama's been doing all tournament. And then I have Arizona beating Clemson, and then I got Arizona beating UNC in the West to make their Final Four. And if Arizona makes the Final Four, they will basically have home court
Home.
advantage with the
Mm-hmm.
Final Four being in Houston. So that'd be kind of cool to see. Up in the South, I have Houston over Duke, and then I have Marquette over NC State, and then I have Houston over Marquette. And then down below in the Midwest, I have Purdue over Gonzaga, Tennessee over Creighton, and then I had also like Evan, I had Tennessee in the Final Four as well. So, all right, what do you got?
Yeah, I got UConn over San Diego State. I think yeah, this is a pretty easy path. I mean, they'll either have to face Illinois or Iowa State in the next one, but I don't think there's any competition there out of the East for UConn. So I have UConn over San Diego State, and then I have Illinois over Iowa State. I think that yeah, like you said, Iowa State's great defense, but I think Illinois is just gonna shoot the crap out of the ball, and I think they're just gonna score more points than Iowa State. So I got UConn and Illinois in the Elite Eight. I'm gonna have UConn coming out of the East. Got UNC over Alabama. I think Alabama's tried to push it up the floor, and I think UNC has, like you said, the veteran presence in RJ Davis and Baycott. Been there both 4 or 5 years or something like that. The chemistry. I just think they put one together and kind of just dominate Alabama. I can see a 15-point game in that one, honestly. And then Clemson over Arizona, or Arizona over Clemson in the Sweet 16, and I have Arizona advancing out of that game. Not much. Yeah, Clemson's been playing well. Don't get me wrong. Arizona had a couple close games, but I think, yeah, I think Arizona. That yeah, I think Arizona just rolls over Clemson. So and then UNC out of the West there into the Final Four, and then I have Houston over Duke, even though I am a Dookie. I think Houston's defense kind of just shuts everybody down. I think Filipowski still has 20 and 10, but I don't think it's going to be enough for Duke to advance. So I got Houston, and then I would like to see NC State over Marquette, but I have Marquette advancing in that one. It would be a fun Cinderella story, kind of all the characters on NC State and what they've accomplished in the past, like you said, month or so. But I do have Marquette. I just think they're the better team, but the momentum, you never know, could continue rolling for the Wolf Pack. And then we got Purdue over Gonzaga. This one's going to be tough, but I think, yeah, Zach Edey has that 5-6 inch height advantage. I think that's going to be too much for Gonzaga. And then I have Tennessee over Creighton, but this one's going to be a good one, going to be a high scoring game. I feel like. What's the over under on this one? Was it that 146, 144 and a half? So yeah, another pretty high scoring game, but
I think Tennessee can score a lot too. I know they're defensive first, but the way Connect plays, they can spread the ball around, score too. So I think they have multiple ways to win. What's crazy is that Alabama North Carolina game, we have an over of 173 and a half.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of points put up on that one.
85 apiece.
What's the spread?
That's 4.5 right now.
4.5. Yeah, I said I could see a 15-point game there, but I mean, yeah, it just all depends on how fast Alabama comes out and how well they're shooting the ball in the first half, because it's all going to be a first half game. I feel like in that one,
they're really sloppy with the ball too. I don't know if you guys watch, so that kind of concerns me.
It's just the fast pace.
Eventually, that style runs out of gas. But we'll see.
And especially facing up against the slower paced team, that speed just, yeah, you just out of control. And if you have somebody under control, have experience like North Carolina does, it kind of just doesn't pay off in the end. Kind of going back to that trapezoid of excellence or whatever. All the teams in the Sweet 16 are in there, except for I think NC State's not in it. And I think that's the only team not in it. Maybe Clemson. But I think all the other teams are in the trapezoid of excellence, which shows like pace and efficiency and everything. And so, yeah, it's pretty accurate, I guess.
Shoot, I had a picture of it. There's only 2 teams that we're missing right now.
I think it's Clemson and NC State, right?
Yeah. So right now there are actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams out right now. So they're saying, as of right now, San Diego State cannot win. Clemson, NC State, Marquette, Zona, and Bama.
Right, so, cannot, yeah.
Yeah. So this is all based on adjusted pace and then adjusted offense and defense. So if you're in that trapezoid like Ty's been talking about, which is the remainder of the teams, you basically have a chance at winning. If you don't, then you don't. So
yeah, like those names, like you said, NC State, Marquette was a little bit out of it. Clemson was a little out of it.
Yeah. San Diego State.
Yeah.
I think just the way Arizona and Alabama play, they're similar styles. They don't have quite the adjusted defense, so
Right.
we'll see. Maybe it
Yeah.
gets proved wrong, but it's been this way for 24 plus years, I believe. You got to be top 25 adjusted offense, defense, and pace. So
Yeah, but like you said, I'm excited for this round of Sweet 16 and Elite Eight. I think there are a lot of exciting games, very chalky, but mixed for a lot of good games here in the next couple of weeks. And then yeah, April 6th is the Final Four, and then the championship game is a couple of days after that, I believe. So excited for this weekend to see what pans out, and then yeah, we'll cover on the next episode. We'll cover obviously the Final Four and the championship game, and we'll see what happens there and everything. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, you guys got anything else to add? I mean, I know there wasn't shorter pod, but I mean, yeah, not really much to talk about. It's pretty self-explanatory how the bracket crumbled. So
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna make a comment on Evan's sweatshirt. He's got the Jack sweatshirt on. Their two best players have already entered the transfer portal. I don't know if you guys saw that. Zeke Mayo and William
man,
Kyle.
yeah, I was gonna say those
Um,
two averaging 30, yeah,
Yeah, so
45.
the whole transfer portal thing is already wild. I saw today there's already 1,000+ names in the Division 1 transfer portal. So even though the
Yeah.
season's still going, there's already things next year. SDSU is going to have to rebuild. They've
Mhm.
done it year in and year out, but it just kind of sucks seeing them develop those guys and then for them to go somewhere else. So
Right.
Yeah.
um,
But I mean, that's just kind of how everything is going now with NIL and all that shit too. So
mhm,
Games just changing and evolving for sure. But
yeah,
no, I'm just ready for some good games. Hopefully, there's some good ball on this weekend. Like you said, there's some pretty close matchups. So hopefully, there's some good ball. And like you said, there wasn't a ton of big upsets. So that's what will make these games here coming up a lot better to watch for sure.
yeah, I'm definitely excited. We should see a lot of good games and a lot of good content to go over in the coming weeks. So.
Yes, sir.
100%. Well, yeah, appreciate you coming on again, Kyle. Yeah, always nice to have your insight. And yeah, I mean, our brackets, yeah, you said you had 13 out of the 16 teams left out of
Yeah,
the Sweet
we're
16. So
still we're
that's
still
pretty
cooking
damn
with
good.
fire. So
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. I mean, a lot of the brackets, I mean, I don't think there's any perfect bracket left. I don't think.
yeah, I
I
don't
know
think so.
there
There was
was,
one left on
No.
Sunday, and I think it got busted. So,
right. So
but
yeah,
a lot of
tough,
people with a
but
lot of teams right. Maybe we'll
mhm.
see some upsets. You never know. Some of these one seeds could go down this weekend. So
Yeah, that would
it
really
should be.
stir some things up if a one seed goes down. Because I mean, yeah, it kind of is kind of a chalky tournament. I mean, yeah, like you
Mhm.
said, there wasn't
Every
a whole
one,
lot of.
every two still left. So
Yeah.
a lot of threes and fours.
Yep. So yeah, excited to see what happens this coming up weekend. And yeah, we'll cover it on the next episode of Two Confrontational. But that's all I got. Yeah, we'll see you guys next week on the pod. Until then, peace.
Peace.